Christians in Nigeria were hit with brutal jihadi attacks this summer. In Nigeria's middle belt state of Benue, there was a large Christian population. An estimated 200 displaced Christians were murdered as they slept. As horrible as the details of this are, the violence against Christians in the region seems to be on the rise. Here to discuss all of this and more, Director of the Center for Religious Freedom at the Hudson Institute, Nina Shea, and President of Solidarity with the Persecuted Church, Steve Wagner. Thank you both for being here. Nina, those 200 Nigerian Christians were murdered in Benue State. The perpetrators first targeted St. Joseph's Church in Yelawata. Tell us what we know about that June attack. What drove it?
Well, we know that they invaded. These are Fulani herders. They attacked a town, an agricultural town in Benue State, as you said. They came at midnight. They attacked for 3 hours. We know that there was a military forward operating base, if you will, there. And those soldiers did not leave their base. They shot into the dark. They didn't know what they were shooting at because they didn't have the proper equipment. They were ill-prepared and ill-trained. As a result, 200 people were actually killed there. They were sleeping in the marketplace. These were displaced Christians. They had already been displaced by prior attacks from other, or maybe the same Fulanis. The Fulani herders came on motorcycles carrying AK-47s. That means that someone is supplying them with these guns. Guns are illegal in Nigeria, but they're allowed to have them. They claim to be herders that are using traditional grazing routes through Nigeria to feed their herds. But these are not, they're snatching land. They're grabbing the land. They're driving the Christians off the land. That's what they want to do. The government seems to be complicit in this, in the sense that they don't protect them, the Christians. This is an attack of Muslims, apparently Islamicized or radicalized Muslims who are shouting the holy war cry of Allahu Akbar as they kill. And that's how they know who they are. Actually, that's how the survivors are able to identify them. And the Christians are driven off the land. This is happening village after village after village, and they never can go back home. Once they're driven off, the land is not theirs anymore because the government doesn't return them.
Stephen, you're the president of Solidarity with the Persecuted Church. You were recently in Nigeria. Tell us about what you saw there, but also give us some insight into the complicity here between the government and these so-called herdsmen. They're actually jihadis.
Well, Raymond, thank you for your attention to the greatest humanitarian crisis that nobody's talking about. The situation is really dire, and Nigeria is a fascinating country. It's already the biggest in Africa by terms of population. It's number 6 in the world, and it's projected to overtake the United States to be the 3rd largest country in the world. So it's a prime target for, as you said, the Islamic jihadists. And that is what's going on. There's an Islamic jihad targeting Christians for the purpose of turning Nigeria into a thoroughly Muslim state. Having visited there, having seen the place, I was there before this massacre that Nina talked about, but I was in the same location, and I can tell you that the government is complicit. The thing that's probably hardest for Americans to understand is, for Christians, there is no rule of law in Nigeria. When these teenagers on motorcycles show up at night with their AK-47s, as Nina described, drive people from their homes, the individuals can't pick up the phone and call the police. If they tried this, the police would say there's nothing we can do. There is no official response to defend Christians in Nigeria at this moment. And we have, therefore, a situation of 3 million Christians in internally displaced persons camps. Now, there's a game of moral equivalence going on. They're saying, well, you know, both sides are at fault, blah, blah, blah. Raymond, I asked when I was there, I was taken to an IDP camp IDP camp is merely somebody who hasn't crossed a refugee who hasn't crossed an international border yet. And I was shown these camps, which, as I say, in total contained 3 million people. And when I finished the tour, I said, okay, now show me the Muslim IDP camp. And it's kind of a bad joke because there isn't one. There are no Muslims living in IDP camps to speak of. It's an entirely Christian phenomenon. And the government of Nigeria needs to step up to the plate and protect its citizens.
Yeah, well, I want to play a testimonial from a Nigerian priest and get your reaction. Watch this.
Their ultimate goal is to kidnap the Christian. They will kill me if they kidnap me again. What I have is to serve the Lord. Because of this instance, before I didn't value what I have, I'm hearing a voice. If you deny me in the presence of this, I'll deny you in the presence of my Father.
Yes.
This kept me from the beginning to the end, and I survived the temptation. So I am very grateful, and I don't afraid of death. As you see me, I don't afraid of, I'm even ready to die. If it is because of Jesus, I'm dying here.
Stephen and Nina, tell us about this man, the faith of this priest, and the faith of the Nigerian people.
This was a priest up in Kaduna who had been kidnapped, and we recorded the testimony of a number of them, and each one said, I was convinced I was going to die, and I put my faith in the Holy Spirit, and I was saved. That's the inspirational side of this story. We have more martyrs, more Christian martyrs in Nigeria killed each year than in any other country on earth. But the faith is amazing. It's astounding to see.
Yeah, and death for religious reasons for these Christians is all around them. It's been going on, Raymond, for decades, and it's accelerating now. It's happening in various states in the country. Now, up in the Northeast, you have the terrorist group, the U.S. designated terrorist groups of ISIS, and Boko Haram, and there are Muslims in those IDP camps up there. But the biggest killer of the Christians now are these Fulani herders, these militias. And as Steve said, the government does not do anything to protect them, to defend them, to prosecute these Fulani murderers.
Well, Nina, in your June 30th article for the Hudson Institute, you write, the U.S. government does not acknowledge the Fulani's persecution of millions of Middle Belt Christians. The Biden administration removed Nigeria from the State Department's list of countries of particular concern, the most egregious violators of religious freedom. Where is the Trump administration on this? I know he met this week, the president did, with 5 presidents of various African countries. He's attempting to bring peace, I know, to Congo and Rwanda. What about Nigeria? I
don't understand why Nigeria is not on the agenda, because they are the most populous country in Africa. And they're one of the largest, if not the largest economy. It's a very influential, important country, and it's falling really prey to Islamic extremism. We may have a terror state that is enormous. It's going to be an enormous security problem for all of us. And that is what's happening, but it's not acknowledged. The State Department continues the Biden line that this is a result of climate change. If it weren't so utterly tragic and horrifying, it'd be funny, it'd be laughable. This is climate change is causing this. They don't look into the motives of these Fulani or who's funding them, how they're organized, or the impunity that the government is giving them, letting them do what they want with the Christians and taking their land and cleansing them.
Yeah, Steve, what should the U.S. government be doing to help to end this violence in Nigeria? I mean, certainly the country of particular concern designation needs to be restored for Nigeria.
Well, Raymond, as you've seen in a number of cases, the president has a tremendous bully pulpit, as he showed with the president of South Africa, where he very strongly in an Oval Office meeting expressed his dissatisfaction with the humanitarian crisis there. The president ultimately is the one who needs to engage on this issue. I think that American Christians will deeply appreciate him intervening on behalf of our Christian brothers and sisters in Nigeria who are the victims of a systematic persecution that is, as Nina said, being funded and armed by outside elements. So that's the project that we're involved in now. We're trying to get the administration to pay attention to this crisis. And, you know, I believe it's a country hurtling towards civil war, because the Christians in Nigeria are not going to tolerate this for an indefinite period of time. The level of violence that's being perpetrated against them is such that they will react. This is human nature. And so we have an opportunity to intervene and prevent what could be a very, very dire human rights crisis.
And Steve, your organization has a petition to try to get the Trump administration to at least designate this as a country of particular concern and protect these Christians.
That's right, Raymond. Thank you. Solidarity with the Persecuted Church has a petition, the purpose of which is for the American people to express their opinion to the Trump administration, saying, we would like you to do everything you can to alter the behavior of the government of Nigeria.
And Raymond,
Nina, go ahead.
Can I just add also that, Raymond, if your viewers could contact their member of Congress and have them sign on to co-sponsor House Resolution 220. Congressman Chris Smith, whom we know is a good Catholic and is concerned about this. He's head of the Subcommittee on Africa in Congress. He has a resolution that says, recommends to the State Department to name it a country of particular concern. And that is very important to put pressure.
Yeah, I want to move on for a moment, Nina, and talk about Sudan. Last month, 3 churches were bombed in El Fasher, the capital of Sudan's North Darfur state. 2 separate attacks by the Rapid Support Forces, and they targeted churches including the Sudanese Episcopal Church, the African Inland Church, and the Roman Catholic Church. At least 5 people were killed in the bombings on June 9th and 11th. Dozens more were injured. Among those casualties was a priest, Father Luca Jomo, the parish priest of the Catholic Church in question. Where is the government on this? I mean, the U.S. government officially designated this Rapid Forces group as perpetrators of genocide. Is anything else being done to help these Sudanese Christians?
I don't know what is being done, Raymond. You know, it's been about 14 years now since South Sudan, the Republic of South Sudan, was created for this very reason, because there was a genocide going on that was not acknowledged at the time against Christians in South Sudan, in North Sudan against South Sudan. Now it's its own country. The North is a very difficult place for Christians to live in. It's mostly Muslim, and many of them are radicalized. And their own government has basically fallen apart and doesn't have any rule of law or control. And our government is focused on trade, and it's focused on defense, but we really need this third pillar of our foreign policy, which is religious freedom.
Yeah, Steve, these human and religious rights need to be tied to any trade deals. And I think for whatever reason, it's not on the radar here, or it's escaping the radar. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, not yet, but what we've seen is the U.S. has tremendous influence through trade. Nigeria is a country that exports a lot of oil. It's extracted by American companies. There's tremendous opportunity for the Trump administration to lay down a marker defining itself as the defender of Christians around the world.
Nina, Steve, we will leave it there. I thank you for your insights. You can find Nina Shea's reporting on the persecution of Christians worldwide at Hudson.org, and follow Steve Wagner's work on behalf of persecuted Christians. He's at SolidarityPersecutedChurch.org. Thank you both.